So we've recently upgraded our website, and when you go on healingharmony.in, you have this option homeopathy musings in the upcoming online courses. We have these free episodes which you can watch anytime by just clicking on our YouTube channel link. The upcoming courses coming on our platform actually are the full spectrum pediatric course, which is an ongoing course. Here we've planned 12 different sessions where we'll be covering the pediatric care through every aspect of the pediatric care we'll be covering. And we have the episode, we will be having the next session on Saturday, that is tomorrow, and we'll be covering the fevers in pediatrics by Dr. Chanda Shah. So I recommend you all to just go through this, and I'm sure this will benefit a lot of you. We also have From Classroom to Clinic version 2, which is mainly focused on students and early practitioners, where we are planning to, the basics of the clinic you can learn from the course. We have a very advanced course on lanthanides, which will be taken by Dr. Jonathan Hardy. And we also have Anxiety and Panic, a 360-degree approach by Dr. Aradhana Chitra ma'am. If you want to purchase any of these courses, you can directly click on it and you can add to cart. And you'll be able to directly purchase this course by filling in the details. In case you've already registered or is a member, so you can log in into our website. Yeah, so that's what a little information I wanted to provide. I think without further ado, we can start with today's session. I'll stop sharing and I'll hand over to you, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you, Taskin. My voice is audible?
Yes, ma'am, it's very.
All right, I'll start my sharing my screen. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. Is my screen visible?
Not yet, ma'am. Yeah, it is.
Okay. Okay, so today on our ABC of remedies, the remedy that we are going to talk today is about Natrum Muriaticum. Okay, very important remedy. I think it's a polycrest. We use a lot of time this remedy for our patients. Let's understand this remedy holistically so that it's become easy to understand the remedy and not just mugging of the symptoms. So the idea of ABC remedy is also like that how you can learn and study the remedy from all the aspects and not just mugging of the symptoms, right? Okay. So what we know about Natrum Mur is um, it's the remedy from the mineral kingdom. Okay, belong to the row 3 of the periodic table. The chemical combination is NaCl, that is sodium chloride. It's a salt, okay, natrum and a muriaticum part of it. Right, so it will have themes of natrum and the muriaticum both. So column 1 and column 17 in the periodic table. And this remedy mainly is of the sycotic miasm. Okay, so now let's understand this at all these levels, right? So if you see in the periodic table, The third row of a periodic table is which has the Natrum Muriaticum as a remedy. Okay, it is of the same row, two different columns which have come together to make this salt, right? Now, little bit about mineral kingdom. So if you see mineral kingdom, the periodic table which is available to us, there is a lot of work that has been done on the periodic table by Dr. Shankar and Sir Ian Sholton to make it more easily understandable in terms of the homeopathic concepts are concerned, right? So the rows in the periodic table have some themes and the columns are understood in terms of the development of the structure, right? So if you see the rows, row 1 starts with the existence of the embryo or existence is just the any primitive process the uh, in which the periodic table we are understanding the concept of it. So the existence of it. Row 2 deals with the separation from the womb. Row 3 deals with the care, nourishment, and identity, which we are going to talk about. Row 4 deals with security, task, and duty. Row 5 is the creativity and performance. It is like how the child is developing. It is studied in this aspect. Row 6 is of related to responsibility and power. And row 7 is for destruction and degeneration. Right. So if you see in mineral cases, when patient talks about it, the core issues what we see in human expressions for the mineral kingdom is either a break or a failure in. There are issues with their own structure or their own capabilities that we generally see. Their ability, their capacity, and the kind of a support or the kind of a dependence that they have, right? So they feel that I am not enough and they need some strength or some support in form of relationship, in form of say money, in form of stability and security, in form of creativity to have their own structure. So the break or any failure in the structure can lead to have the mineral cases. They'll have issues with their relationship, or it can be with the performance, problem with their ability and capability. So if how do you find out the mineral expressions? They will talk about being complete or incomplete, their dependency and their independency. Hmm? Fear of losing this kind of a support, fear of losing their own structure, or there will be a lot of kind of uh, feeling of introspecting. So something which is lacking within me, something which I am not able to do it. Okay, and or something which they are afraid to losing of their own structure or their identity or the support. Hmm? Either it could be of security, relationship, issues related to their themes, which roles they are concerned about, but it will be more of either lacking or losing that structure. Hmm? They will also talk about a lot of stability and instability. So most of the language of mineral kingdom will have the words related to this complete, incomplete, stability and stability, support, something is lacking, something to depend on, right? So they'll talk about either my relationship, my identity, my home, family, my bank balance, my health, my performance, my work, and my responsibility, like that in terms of whatever the themes that they are concerned with in terms of the role. Hmm? So what is these rows about? Because in Natrum Mur, we see we have row 3 as the important aspect of it. So lot of study being done on these understanding of these elements, and the with Dr. Shankar and Jan Scholten, lot of work on it. It is based on the the representation of this periodic table is the replica of the development of that person. Okay, it is starting from the conception of the fetal life to the birth, to the infancy, the childhood, like how they are developed. And these rows, they represent in their developmental stages. And what will be the issues that they will get, stuck at. And then we know as a homeopath, which are the issues that they are facing with. So what a stage of development the individual is stuck in, will get an idea of that row. Okay. And in each row, if you have to find a remedy, how relatively developed and underdeveloped they are in that particular theme of the row, we will decide the column in terms of finding the remedy for it. Okay, so when we are concerned for the Natrum Mur, it is belonging to row 3. That is that to deal with lot of with the identity and the nourishment. So the conception has happened, there is a separation of the womb has happened. Now the child is concerned for its own identity and nourishment. So themes will be related to this. So developing own identity, then of their own expression, like their image and choice. They know that now they are separate, but who they are, who am I, is the main question, right? And at this stage, they need, when they are in this kind of a stage of confusion, they don't know what exactly, they don't have the clarity at that time. They need a lot of warmth and nourishment, care, and emotional support. So, this age of important theme in this issue, in this stage. So there will be issues related to the trust. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So trust is a very important theme in this stage, right? And expressing its own choices. So if there is anything or any relationship or any person who breaks their trust, it is very difficult to develop that. And then they are very, very cautious about it. Either they will not kind of, will not form the trust, or they will have, issues to develop the trust in their relationship. So, lot of themes you will see in terms of their image, choice, their trust, and their identity. At the same time, they will need this lot of warmth and nourishment and care and kind of emotional support. So they will not talk much about money or a career or a stability or health. They will talk more about how much they need this love and care and nourishment. Right? The remedies in this entire row are starting from sodium, ending with the argon. Argon, that is a noble gas. Okay, so sodium, magnesium, alumina, silica, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, and argon. So they will all these elements uh, will have issues related to these things that we discuss. Okay, then this is the stage where the child begins to develop its own choice. So, they will want to do things on their own. In row 2, you will see more of, they in the left side of the row 2, that they don't want to get separated from that womb or the mother or that comfort space. As and when it passes to the right side, there is the need or a desire to get kind of away from that separation in the womb. And when we have the remedies like oxygen, nitrogen, and oxygen at that right side of the periodic table of the second. Now in the third row, when you see from the natrum, it begins from natrum, there will be issues of the natrum. On the left side, there will be less developed. So, issues expressing, bringing their own choices, bringing their own identity, expressing about, they will have issues with, like, natrum, magnesium, alumina will have that. As and when it passes from the left side in the center where there is silica in the third room, they have certain identity and they want to kind of fix to it. And they want to kind of, other people to also believe in it. And then as and when we see elements in phosphorus and sulfur, in phosphorus, there will be some identity which is developed. They will have their own choice and they will have kind of a good development in terms of their identity. In sulfur, it will be more, because they will talk about very assertive about what they are, who they are, what they know, right? So like that is the building up from the left side to the center, and then developing at a peak uh, from the left side to right side that we see. Okay, so the choice is developed here, wants to do things on his own. Then the appearance, is also very important. How they look, how they appear to the world, because their confidence or their internal feeling or the strength depends on what other people feel about them or what other people have an impression about them. So they will be concerned about it, and they'll be very conscious also about it. Hmm? And at the same time, they will need this lot of warmth and nourishment and care and emotional support in the entire row 3 that we will see. They will also need, they want to decide them for themselves what is right and what is wrong. And sometimes they don't want to take that kind of guidance from their parents, because they want to kind of develop their more independent, their more own choice. So in Natrum, you will see that there will be one side dependency of, complete dependency of on a person or somebody whom they're very close to, and they want to take all the decisions and all they can choose for themselves. But if the chlorine comes in between with the Natrum you, then they will have a theme of that. One side they will be having this kind of dependency, and all the other side they want to kind of break free from that and kind of developing their own identity will be the issue, right? So it is, and at this stage they are okay. They know what will be the pros and cons of their own decisions. So there will be a lot of confusion also could be a theme of it, whether to do it, not to do it. But as and when it develops, they kind of know the pros and cons of the situation, and they still want their own choice to decide on things. Hmm? And that choice will be sometimes very stubborn kind of a thing, and a foolish also, that they just want to do it so that they can prove themselves that yes, they can do it, like that. Then child also start expressing themselves a lot. But in Natrum, you will see there will be less of difficulty in expressing, where sulfur will be very communicative, very assertive, because that kind of expression will be developed in the element of sulfur. So it builds up from the left to right, right? And they feel there will be a lot of this insecurity will be there. About what? Insecurity of losing their support or their parent or a friend or whoever they are dependent on for the love, care, and nourishment, and the warmth that they get from that. And they feel that who will care for me now. So a lot of these kind of insecurity will be there. So natural mure, you'll be able to find in rubrics like discords aggravate between the relative friends. You have magmure, natrum mure, and sulfur in this. So it gives a theme of that. And because of that, if they're being alone, or if there's somebody, they lose the dependency, or lose that person or that support, then there will be a lot of feeling of this loneliness or being forsaken, and kind of aggravate their situation in life. Hmm? Right? Then they're very conscious about what other people, other people think about them and what impression they are creating on the others, right? So you see, natrum will be very shy, but sulfur on the other side will be very confident. you know. Then they are highly conscious about their appearance. So the theme of looks, theme of appearance, themes of presentable will be also seen a lot in these remedies. Hmm? They will have issues like something which is on the face. So issues of acne and hair loss and something related to your identity, your face, right? With all these themes, if we come to know it is a row three, themes, and the remedy which we want is from this row. If we can find out what is the column, that is, how much is the structure developed, right? How much is the structure it's capable of carrying out these function of that row. That will give us the idea of the columns. Is the structure, kind of losing its capability or has already lost its capability? Or if it is there, then how much it is lost? So there's strength of holding those issues of the row in what way and how better will give us an idea of the columns. So if you see, there are 18 columns on the periodic table, right? So if we see the development in the columns, then the column 1, where natrum mu belong, there will be complete dependence. So they will have remedies like lithium and natrum and kali in the third row, fourth row, and the second row. If you see, from second to ninth row, there is a gradual process of developing this structure. So second will be, start developing. Third will be little bit more. Fourth will be more. Like that it happens. So till ninth, there is this gradual process of developing. So we have magnesium and alumina, calcium to cobalt over here. In column 10, it is the structure which is complete and there is the success. So if you see in silica, the identity is developed. There is a fixed identity and they want other people to follow this, right? So we have silica, palladium and platinum over here in column 10. As and when the right side starts, that is from column 11 to 17, there is the structure starts losing its capability, its ability in those themes that we are talking about in row 3, 4, 5, 6, or the other 1 or 2. So in the 11 and 17, what we see, there will be a lot of efforts to maintain and defend against these various challenges that are coming up. And then we can see there is a gradual decline in the structure from 11 to 7. So we see in argentum to iodine, those kind of remedies here. And when we see column 18 or column 0, it is more of all the structure is completely lost and no more issues of structure. And there is this calm, contented state which is there. And most of the noble gases remedy, they come in this column. Okay. And this we can understand more with the patient's language. Now let's understand the themes of natrum. What are the themes that you will see here? So mainly the theme will be that I am separate now, but I have no separate identity, right? So they find there is a lot of lack in their own structure and their own capacity to find this nourishment and this care and this identity on their own. So they're completely dependent on somebody or their relative, their partner, their mother. Their person can be anything, anybody. Okay. And then they give that authority or that complete dependence that they want their partner or their kind of mother or whoever to decide and choose for them. They're completely dependent. And they're completely dependent for everything, for love, care, nurturing from that partner or from the mother. And they can't imagine their life without that relationship or that person. So natrum, it is mainly a first column. So very shy, very kind of a limited kind of a life that they will have. They'll have maybe one or two, three very close people on whom they are completely dependent on, and they will talk about it. more about their partner or whom they are dependent on, and how they are dependent on them, and how their life will be without them, that they can't even imagine. I've seen many patients who will say, no doctor, I don't want to imagine, I'll never imagine. And maybe that imagining is also they kind of start experiencing that kind of a state. So that much dependency we are talking about Natrum over here. And in their dependency is also more like a romantic way, and that love, romanticism that they expect from their partner, right? More kind of those romantic relationship. So all the heartbreaks or the breakups, Natrum will be a very good remedy. Not only limited to this, but free from that, and kind of want to make the complete opposite identity or complete opposite state from where they were. So one side there will be complete dependency, and the other side, if they are hurt or if they are kind of disappointment, then it will be completely opposite, that they want to come out of it. They completely want to get away from it and want their own freedom. Hmm? So they'll have more of a feeling at that time will be, I'm exactly opposite of you, so I don't need you anymore, right? And they kind of have that feeling of being disappointed and betrayed, and that kind of gets into their system. They hold on it too a lot. So the main thing of Natrum Mur is being betrayed or disappointed by the person whom they are dependent on in the relationship, hmm? on whom they were completely put their trust on, completely, they kind of in love with those people, and they feel this betrayal and disappointment that happens. Hmm? And mainly it is a relationship, friendship or a romance, and it is mainly seen with the one-to-one basis. You will have many of the Natrum I've seen. They'll have one person of this, either from the family or from the friends, and they will tell you also that my circle is very small, doctor. I want somebody, people whom, like, we are like very close friend, nice friend, jigri dost, like that, and not like I want all like big set of friends or nothing. They are happy with their own life, two, three friends whom they are have a good bond with. They will talk a lot about their own emotional bond, how attached they are with that person. So, that will be very important thing. And they most of the time, they will see that the theme of this having this disappointment from them, or so if they're very sensitive for getting hurt by those people or other people around, so they kind of become very reserved or shy, and kind of they will look more unapproachable to you when they come. So because they they completely dependent on that person, plus they will have the insecurity of losing them, because what their life will be. So they will kind of do a lot of things for them, but behind that will be, there is a lot of fear of being alone, fear of being alone on their own. That is a very important fear that Natrum will have. Along with that, they have fear of robbers. So most of the row 3 remedies will have these robbers as a very important. There's somebody coming from outside into your own house or in your space. So that is also, I've seen most of the remedies they have. Right. So what happens if there is something like this situation, then they'll start thinking that retrospect, that something is wrong with me. I am not good enough, or I am not looking good enough. So delusion looks wretched in the mirror. So this rubric is very important. So they will kind of find the problem within themselves, and they will kind of self-blame, self-criticize themselves, rather than thinking about the other person if there is a breakup or something, right? So they will feel that I have not done enough. Okay, and why that person left her or leave her, and that leaving or disappointment, and even if they want to get away from it, they will have a lot of grief within them, and they kind of keep in their mind for a long time. Hmm? And but for that, to maintain that relationship, to have the that relationship working in their life, they put lot of their efforts. So they will be the best best kind of mothers or caregivers, or they will take lot of care about somebody else, even if that other person doesn't think, they can think about it like that. And if they are hurt by any means, they will do everything from their side. If they are hurt, they kind of completely withdraw, because then they don't want to get more hurt. They don't want to kind of show what they are feeling inside. So, it's a good remedy for silent grief that we see. They will have more of weeping alone when, and if you see lying down at night alone, natrum mur will be the very important remedy with it. And at that time, they don't want to be a kind of, disturbed, and they don't want people to talk about it or give them some empathy or sympathy. And so they will have aggravated by consolation. Whole this process, you will see that complete dependence, doing lot of things. And if at all that person betrays or disappoint, they will go into the opposite side, getting away from that person, getting into their silent zone, and kind of retrospecting their own feeling about it. And then there will be a lot of bitterness, you will see tremendous anger, you will see, which will be more, within, which will be more holding inside. There will be a lot of hatred can be generated. It will be very revengeful also. If you see revengeful, Natrum Mur is there. But it's not the revenge of animal kingdom that they want to take something, do something, make them feel hurt. They will show them with their actions. They will show them that bitterness in terms of their behavior, right? And it will be more of going with it. There is no something which is outside that we generally do. A lot of irritability will be there, hatred will be there. Hmm? And they don't want to forget about it. They will either become very cautious. They will most of the natrum I've seen that they will, once somebody breaks their trust, somebody who is very close to them, whom they depended on, it's very difficult for them to kind of trust again, or they're very cautious in terms of making that trust build up again. Hmm? And then and they give it, there's a lot of this overthinking, brooding, that natural is very brooding remedy, right? A lot of thoughts about what happened in the past, disagreeable thing that happened in the past, and it keeps on kind of repeating in their head, especially at night and when they wake up, so that it kind of affect their sleep also. Then and then they become averse for that person who has betrayed them or disappointed them, and they want to shut off from the people. So they will have the rubric like aversion to the opposite sex, generally to the husband, and also they don't want to get away. They don't want to get into the same situation. They just want to kind of break it and get away from that whole person or that situation. Hmm? But at the same time, they will, once they are separate, they will have, you know, there will be range of movements to these two states of, then they start feeling being alone, and their being lonely also affect them. So they want company, they again want the relationship. So contradictory symptoms are also kind of very common in natural people that you will see. They will say, oh, let's not have some expectation in the relationship, and they don't want, then they will make, or they will be interested in such a relationship where there is no commitment, right? So one-sided love is very common. Silent love will be very common in these kind of a people, that they don't want to give any commitment, because what is the feeling that either they will get hurt or they will get disappointed by that person. So, and they have a tendency to fall in, and this kind of a tendency is basically because of their own pattern. So they kind of fall in love with people who are like wrong people, wrong people. In the sense they can have a relationship with a married man who cannot give the commitment to them, or somebody whom they cannot, have a compatibility with, or somebody like a something where there is no commitment required. So those kind of relationship they will deal with. Hmm? And it's very important how that person treat her, with love, care, nourishment. If you do that, then she can give everything, like she can give entire life to that person. Hmm? But if that mood, her mood will also depends on this. If somebody blames her or hurt them, then she can also kind of become, on the opposite side of, blaming that person. Or if the feelings are hurt, then you will see the very intense state of Natrum Mure as a person that comes up. Hmm? Sometimes initially she'll be very, cautious about how the other person feel, or she'll be scared of, hurting that other person. But because in the return, she also doesn't want to get hurt. But once it happens, there can be opposite polarity. Hmm? In the practice, I've seen Sepia and Natrum Mure comes very, very close, because there's a lot of theme of disappointment in Sepia also that happen. Plus, Sepia is also concerned about their body looks and the body being disfigured. So that comes very close. But in Sepia, of course, you will have the themes of animal kingdom. Cephalopod themes will be there. But the main theme of Sepia is about the contraindication between this relationship and this occupation. They don't want to take something which is kind of given by any authority, whether to do this or that. And they don't want to take, they want to do what they really want to do. Right? So a lot of contradictory issues will be there. But in Natrum Mule, you'll see mainly the energy will be at the level of this making and breaking of the relationship. There will not be much of contradiction of any will or something. Hmm? So mineral kingdom issues will be there, plus two sides issue, no, of natrum and chlorine that we see. In terms of the grief, Natrum Mure comes very close to Ignatia, right? But in Ignatia, we know that the grief is very, very fresh in the mind, even if it is like very old grief, but it kind of come very, very fresh in the mind. Then that time that patient will need Ignatia. And Natrum Mure is like very old kind of a scar, and which got provoked when touched or probed, So it at that time the Natrum Mure will be given, and that will be exactly different in the Ignatia. Of course, the Ignatia is from the plant kingdom, so they'll have the sensitivity and reactivity issue. It is from the Loganacea family. They will have the theme of shock and the kind of aggressive kind of a reaction to this shock. And Natrum will have more of issues of mineral kingdom, which we spoke about. So Ignatia, you can think of, it's acute of Natrum view. So we can, if a person comes with a very acute kind of a grief, now very fresh, we can prescribe Ignatia to them. Mhm. Physical concomitancy, they're hot patients. Heat of the sun is the most important aggravating modality. Most of the cases I've seen this typical type of these headaches from the sun, throbbing kind of a pain. Better by, being in the cold place, shutting all the light, and kind of being alone. Noise aggravates, typical kind of headaches that we see in Natrum Mute. Emaciation around the neck, crack in the middle lower lip, especially cold winter, is a very important rubric if it is there for the patient. They need salt. Most of the cases we ask, you need more salt. So salt is something which is there, but the refined way of the salt flavor is something for natrum patient that we have seen. Hmm? The perspiration is kind of a salty sediment that it gives. MAC tongue is also very important in Natrum Mute. And a lot of themes related or issues related to their like the time around their periods time, right? So a lot of PMS is there. Headache is a very, very common thing before the periods that we have seen. So if we consider rubric, then we see disappointment, old ailments from grief, anger when consoled. They don't like consolation. Anger, they don't want to talk to anybody. Anxiety, there can be more of alternating symptoms that we can have. They will need company, but they will also be aversion to company. And people agreeable thought. Lot of silent grief, cannot cry. And then they will have hatred for the other person who have offended them. Okay. As we spoke, love or getting into relationship with the wrong people is very, very important theme. They're very sensitive to music and like sentimental music, romantic music, and kind of the theme of those music where there is a separation from their partner or from somebody whom with they have the romantic relationship of. So that kind of theme will be seen here. They could be very shameless in the bed. Then Shelton also did a lot of research on this. So in Natrum as a theme, we see a lot of sadness, depression. They can be very closed, alone, a lot of restrictions they can put, okay, or they can imagine and behave. A lot of denial and forbidden would be said there to take the love or the warmth or kind of the needs for them. Very sensitive they could be and kind of holding on. So a lot of grudge. It's a remedy, come very close to aquamarina themes will be there. So a lot of holding will be there. So bitterness, grudges, and all of that would be seen here. And in Muriaticum, there will be themes of these betrayal, self-pity. They need a lot of care and give a lot of care in order to have people in their life. A lot of nurturing theme will be there. But attention and communication, like they demand a lot of attention and a lot of attention to from the other people also. So either they give that or they want that for themselves. Hmm? So self-awareness is also very important theme in Muriaticum. So overall, if you see there are Sholton had put down certain situations where you can think of natromure as a remedy, where just like a situation where there is no mother. So no mother, so no care. So it is very interesting to find out that delusion is mother is dead is very important remedy. Nastromure you can see. Or other side that the mother, who is very strict and very cold to the emotions or the feeling of the child, and um or the mother who doesn't want to kind of give their love or care, so that she think that they can spoil their children, so she will not give much of attention to them, so there will be a lot of grief or a lot of the emotional situation that the child go through it, and then she can leave them to cry also. So the kind of children that get this kind of a feeling, they kind of shut off from the outside world, and they can go into the natrum state also. Then child in the incubator, where physical assistance is there, but there is no love and warmth of the mother, and it is kind of the child is totally left to his own emotional state. They can also go in the natrum state, or would be a good remedy for them. He also said that he had one patient where they have these dreams about concentration camp that patient had, whom Dr. Sholton was treating. So he thought that this is also theme of this general concentration camp syndrome, where people are left to their own fate, right? So there is lack of nurturing that happen, emotional, but also physical. So there is less of food and no food, no care, no warmth, and that can also precipitate into natrum state. Hmm? Right? Then the theme of being alone in the world. They don't feel secure or nurtured by anyone on this earth, even if they have people around. Those also could be given attribute. Then, another theme would be the idea that they cannot be a mother. So this could lead to infertility, or because they don't want to become the mother, that they don't want to kind of give that love, care, and sure they are unable to give that. So could be cause of mental cause of infertility, and an attribute also could be a best remedy for that. A lot of grief which we can see it over here. So they're melancholic, pessimistic. Hmm? And they feel that so much grief that something that they lost in their life which cannot be corrected, that person cannot come back, and things will never be all right again. Hmm? And they cry a lot about it, but in their own company they will not show it to other people. On the face they will look kind of very smiley and cheerful and all of that, but that kind of sense of closed, or that grief would always be there. Like there would be a lot of inner world when you try to open up with Natrum Mur patient. That what I've seen. Hmm? So they keep their problems inside. They're closed. They don't want to talk about it because they don't trust people that they will keep their secret, or they will understand them basically, or they can hurt them or disappoint them. Hmm? Then they have kind of feeling of their on being on their own, and then they have also this burden of carrying this sadness alone, right? And in the whole scenario, what happens, they don't want to expect any help, anything from outside, and always feel that they are alone and there's no help for them, and they have to accept that kind of a fate that they are in, and that becomes very gloomy for them, and then they withdraw, and they concentrate more about what they've lost, and that kind of a sadness. Hmm? They also carry this secret grief and hide it from the world. Very, very sensitive, very vulnerable. Hmm? And they feel as if so much has taken away already from them, and they have nothing left to feel sad about or bad about. Hmm? Constantly walking around with feeling that the rest will also be taken away from them. That is why they're easily frightened, and all unexpected thing could even hurt them. Hmm? Very sensitive to music, we saw, and they can go into some melancholic mood. They have inclination to withdraw. They restrict themselves to the essentials, but definitely they hold on a lot of things, a lot of memories, and which are from the distant past. Hmm? Was from 11 hours in the morning around sundown. They desire salt. Farinaceous food is seen most commonly in Natrum patients. Sometimes aversion from salt. They don't disagree. Most of the thing I've seen disagree with the milk. And then whatever the farinaceous food that they need, but that can cause kind of a like disagreement in their body. Okay. And worse, from lying on the left side, we can see natrum as a very, very important remedy. In a superclass perspective, natrum mur, it belongs to the third superclass. Okay. So people who are new to this concept, there are a lot of lectures that we are doing in our courses in terms of basic course or a classroom to clinic course, where this concept is more kind of studied and worked on. But this superclass, Natrum Mu belongs to the third superclass, and it's like a bird type. So they have this kind of feeling of limitation and expansion. They want to kind of become free. Hmm? And they kind of feel this kind of a barrier, or they kind of feel this kind of boundaries in their own life, right? And inside the boundary they have a kind of a safety and comfort feeling, and crossing that boundary could be dangerous but adventurous. And love and the limit is the main theme of class 3 every year. Hmm? And these restrictions could be either they're self-imposed, or so male societal feeling of confinement will be there, and they need a lot of freedom. So in superclass concept, basically, Dr. Shankaran sir has divided these the basic dynamic action, which is more deeper to the sensation and it is divided into the 6 dynamic reaction, which first is to withdraw, second is to in and out feeling, and third is mainly of this bird type where they are limited, restricted, and if you cross that, it kind of very adventurous, but is also dangerous. Fourth is mainly related to stability. Fifth is to come out of it. They feel that stuck and trapped and they want to come out of it. And sixth superclass deal with a lot of this fear and injury, war-like situation, fear, flight or fright reaction that we see. In the people who are in third superclass, the being valued, appreciation, they become very important theme. Value in their relationship, what is their worth is also very important theme. They also are more of feminine characteristics that they will have. So they will, doing more for other people will be the main theme of it. Feeling guilty about it, having a lot of expectation from other people and caring for them, doing more for them would be seen over here. Maternal instinct will be a very important theme and will be prominent over here. Then there will be, there will be people who kind of want to fit into particular stereotype and the expectation of the other people. And to do that, in return, what they get is this love and care and, nourishment from the people or society that they are kind of part of. Self-sacrificing nature. So in this way, if we understand the total nature of that person, then we are able to come to the super class. So this is about the Natrum Mur. Let me explain, give an idea of one of the case which I remember, and I think that would be very, very helpful, right? So recently I saw this girl, I think 6 months back, and the main complaint what she had are of this cold and cough, okay, and some allergic issues that she had. Continuous sneezing will be there, and it was mainly happening in the day. Then a lot of these head heaviness and fever, those kind of symptoms will come. The main aggravating modality was sunlight. It used to give her headache. It used to aggravate her oral complaint. She also used to feel very dizzy and kind of, the entire day is to go in something like that in these complaints if she is exposed to the sun. And then, of course, she was taking a lot of treatment for that and nothing could kind of, help her. And in terms of other physical complaints, she had a lot of these periods issues. So there was headache before the menses, a lot of breast heaviness was there before menses, and she has to have this dizzy feeling if she get exposed to the sun before that. And a lot of dysmenorrhea also she had, and a lot of mood swings, a lot of irritability before the menses she'll have, and she would kind of, express it at every trifle that she gets aggravated from. In terms of her kind of a mental picture, that if I have to tell you, so she was a kind of a introvert person. Okay, she was studying. She was doing two, like, on, she was on the two career paths. She was also doing CA and also LLB. So that kind of a path that she was following, and she was doing that CA because of peer pressure, or maybe the family wanted that, but she was unable to kind of, sustain that, and so she was finishing more, looking towards more of LLB in as a career path for her than the CA. And this kind of situation, like when she was studying for the CA, there were a lot of these anxiety that had happened, and the whole process of, going under and studying for CA. As we know, it's a very difficult exam. So she was, expecting too much out of herself, and she was kind of failing in it. And it kind of gave a lot of anxiety to her, lot of fear of failure was there. Plus, the physical sensation was there, like she had heart trembling, heart palpitation, lot of shivering was there. She was unable to do anything, to a level where she had to go to a doctor to see if there is any issues at the heart level, or ECG will come very normal. So those kind of anxiety issues she had. And the experience was of that I'm not enough. I am not able to do my enough efforts to it. Why I am not able to do it when other people are able to do it? Why I'm not able to do it? A lot of fear of failure was there in this thing. So you see, there was more of attention towards introspection, her own capacity, in her capabilities, rather than putting it outside. Hmm? Then she also said that during the anxiety, she used to have dizziness or vertigo kind of a symptoms also, right? And her mainly that what the other people will feel, or generally my parents will feel if I'm failing in the exam. That was also very important theme for her. She was a very introverted person, will hang around with only friends of small group, two, three people whom she's very close to. She shares a very good bond with them, and kind of shares everything with them, depend with them a lot thing for a lot of things that she shares, understanding, love and care and warmth. She was a very independent. She said, I want to be independent. I don't want to be kind of completely dependent on somebody. Like, so she had a relationship where she had a breakup, but that relationship and that breakup had a long kind of impact on her. It broke her confidence. She felt betrayed. She felt disappointed. And she wanted that person back in her life when she knew that it is not going to happen. She took a lot of time. So, a lot of these typical things of, feeling betrayed and being alone, crying and weeping alone, and seeking for that person back to her life was had happened. And slowly, slowly, kind of, she could get out of it, but still there were a lot of these themes were present, kind of a chronic grief, and a lot of holding was there that I could see. And that, but at this time now she want to become independent, doesn't want to get into any relationship, because she's very cautious, if I will get hurt again. Plus, she's somebody who doesn't want to do something like do a job, so working under somebody was something which she didn't like. She wanted to have her own business or a career where she'll be on her own boss and she can do things as per her way of doing it. See, these are also some identity issues that we saw. Hmm? And she had some experience in when she was working in a corporate job where there was a lot of pressure. There was somebody who was kind of pressurizing her, putting authority on her, and she didn't want to take that. So that kind of independence, financial independence, her the way she wants to be, that independence is very, very important for her. And then she was very with that situation, she was very irritated and frustrated, but she never used to speak about it. But then later on, kind of, it became very a situation which she couldn't handle, and she had to leave that job, and she kind of left that job, and now focusing more on her own, setting up her own practice. And the feeling was of more of disappointment and betrayal in the same issues as well. Hmm? Then she was very sensitive. So if somebody is, treated very unfairly, if somebody is getting some injustice from other people, or something, some people are doing wrong things to her. So right and wrong was also very important theme. She said, I don't want, people to come in my personal boundaries, because I don't want that people to cross that line, because I have that boundary, I have that kind of a space where nobody can enter. That's my personal space. And then I asked her about this boundary, which is very important theme of third superclass. So it's very important. It maintains my own self-respect. It maintains my space, and nobody can cross that. And if somebody crosses, I don't like it at all. I get very angry. and I can kind of react back to it. A lot of fears were there of death, deep water, losing the family. So she was completely dependent on the family and the friends. She wanted the parents to feel proud of her. They're the highest priority for her, and especially to mother. Has a very good bond with her, with sharing, being like a friend, and the relationship was very, very important for her. But also she was seeking some romantic relationship or getting emotionally dependent in the romantic relation. That's something that you always wanted, and that kind of a desire is always there in that relationship. But then she moved on, but that kind of leaves a scar in her heart of whatever happened. Mm. Then she has trouble trusting on people, on friendships, or in relationship, and she feels very disappointed. Holds on a lot of grudge, does not want to talk to those people who have hurted her. Yeah, so with this whole understanding of being the silent grief, heartbreak, disappointment, and betrayed feeling, I had given her Natrum Mur, and she did really, really very well. Like within, I think within third month only, she didn't have any symptom and continued till still her treatment is going on. 6 months it's been passed, and she's doing almost 80%, 90%, I would say better. And her emotional state also improved a lot. So Natrum Mur really, really helped her. And because at the emotional level, I prescribe her 200. So I think this is what I have for today. And I hope with this whole understanding of themes and the sides of the two sides of the salt, I think you'll be able to find out Natrum Mur in your practice a lot. Yeah, I just want to see if there is any um, kind of questions. Okay, so Anita is asking fresh grief and old grief, how patient will present to doctor. Okay, so what I have seen in the practice is um, the like a lot of teenager girls or girls who have these scars of relationship breakup or any grief, losing the mother or losing any important person in their life, and they don't kind of talk about it. But if you probe them and if you start asking about it, you'll come to know that it is such an important aspect in their life, and it kind of uh, kind of made their entire life, and that incident was such affected by them. And when we are talking about it, and when we are talking about it, that they are getting too much affected with it. So it is kind of a old kind of a grief, which when we probe and which we kind of touched upon, it kind of gives you all that kind of a feeling. But generally in Ignatia, a lot of patients that are seeing with, how that typical situation of that grief, how they handle, like this was a situation and how they handle the death of the husband or death of the father or the mother in a controlled way, because Ignatia also belongs to Cancer Mahism, right? So that kind of a fresh grief, we will see that a patient will talk about it. They will kind of talk about how controlled way and how better they could handle their grief and their situation. So that way you'll be able to kind of differentiate. What is the dignity of Natrum Mur or how it is presented? In terms of the dignity, what I've seen is there'll be more of, introverted type. They will not even talk about it. They will kind of, they want to be, very